That fella couldn't do anything. He couldn't even kneel to pray. And he got saved. Are you saved? That fella couldn't join the church. He couldn't join the church. He couldn't get baptized. He couldn't get baptized. He woke up with God. He woke up with the devil. Are you saved? So that fella didn't take the sacraments, didn't take the sacraments. Didn't say the rosary, didn't take the rosary. Didn't tithe, didn't tithe. He went to heaven, he went to hell. You saved? Didn't keep the law, he didn't keep the law. He broke the commandments, he broke the commandments. He didn't keep the golden rule, he didn't keep the golden rule. He woke up in glory, he woke up in the pit. Are you saved? You're saved. If you're not saved, you're over here or you're over here. You sure ain't in the middle. He said, Lord, remember me, thou comest thy kingdom. And Jesus turned to him and said, verily I say unto thee, today shalt thou be saved. It's like that. You have been saved? If you ever saved, you were saved like that.
All right, in this video, I want to talk about a couple of weird justifications. And I know we can go over millions of justifications because the world is just full of these tares, these narcissists, these devils that appear to be humans, and they run everything, and people have become so accustomed to these people and their justifications that they're following along with them. So it's hard to tell the difference between the true narcissists and those that are just a product of narcissistic abuse. But, you know, it is what it is. And the reason why these narcissistic people are full of all kinds of justifications is because they're egotistical. They can never be wrong because they have a self-deluded image of themselves that they are basically perfect, even though they might not consciously think it in that exact way or say it in those exact words. But the way they go about life is as if they're perfect, and if they're ever corrected, even when they are obviously wrong, they're offended, right? But I want to talk about a couple of justifications here. And I've been noticing that certain families and social groups do this. And it's a problem, obviously, right? Because, of course, with family and with friends, there's going to be times where there's, verbal and physical altercations even, and, that's going to happen. But there's times where this is just kind of natural, and it's even at times playful, like joking about brothers and sisters or friends, teasing one another and physically wrestling around for fun, for sport, right? But then there's where it gets out of hand, right? Where a narcissist, for example, even if it's something playful, right? It's something that becomes very competitive, right? So if, let's say, you and your friend are doing something, all right? Whether you're moving furniture, you're playing a game, whatever, you're doing an activity, and they do something that was obviously boneheaded, right? They tried to pick up the fridge by themselves with their bare hands, right? And you're like, that was stupid, man, right? You're not really, trying to break their will and their spirit. You're just like, that was stupid. You don't mean anything by it other than, hey, you won't do that again, will you? Right? Thanks for the laugh, right? Watching you struggle with that. And a normal person that tried such a thing and someone called them stupid or a bonehead for doing it, they'd be like, yeah, I won't do that again, right? They're fine with it. But you see, when a narcissist does it, it's completely different. So let's say that it was the narcissist who did the dumb thing trying to pick up the fridge, and you said, that was stupid. Well, they're offended. How dare you call out what I did that was stupid as what it is? And now they want vengeance. So they're going to try to wait for you to do something that is stupid so they can be like, you're stupid. And it'll become obvious that they've been waiting to say that for like ever. Because they've just been watching. And they even been trying to set you up to try to do something stupid so that they can get vengeance and be like, they can call you stupid now. All right? And it's like, and even, let's say it happens, you end up saying or doing something stupid. Like you misspelled a word, for example. Like, you're stupid. And you're like, oh yeah, well, I gotta learn to spell. Right? And they're upset that you're not as upset about it as they were when you called them stupid. So they're still upset. Right? And vice versa. Let's say it's the narcissist who calls you stupid when you tried to pick up the fridge by yourself, right? They're not just like messing around like, that was dumb, and let's go on with life. No, when they say it, they're trying to say it in a way to really dig it into you to make you feel like you truly are stupid and that you're always going to be stupid, that you're below them. They're smarter than you and they're always going to be smarter than you. Right? So they don't just say it in some kind of passive way that's just like whatever. They're saying it to really dig it into your head, and they'll bring it up all day long. Right? And they'll always bring it up even in the future. Oh, the time you said that, the time you did that. Because they want you to be stuck in that feeling of feeling stupid, and as if you can never grow up and learn and smarten up, right? And I was noticing that these people, they even do it with their children, even their young children. They will belittle them and troll them, and they'll give them a verbal beatdown, and they do this to their children, and they laugh about it when their siblings do this, and that you can see that the people are hurt. Sometimes they cry, sometimes they hold it in because they're trying to be tough, because the whole point of this is like, oh, you can't take it, right? You can't take it. And that's the justification is, hey, we're doing this to you to toughen you up because the world's not a nice place, right? And it's like, well, yeah, the world's not a nice place. That's why your home should be a place where you're safe from all that. But now you make it worse because you go out into the world, you got to deal with all the craziness in the world, and then you come home and you still got to deal with it. And sometimes it's worse at home. Like you're more worried about what dad and mom are going to make fun of you about, and your brothers and sisters are make fun of you about, than you are the world. So it's better to get away from them to be around them. But then they drill it in your head that you're the problem. The problem is that you're just weak and soft and you can't take it. That you're the problem. Right? You need to toughen up. Right? And then when people are like, they end up making friends as they get older. And they start treating their friends in the same way. And their friends are like, I'm not hanging around you. Right? Are you just constantly trying to troll me and gaslight me? No, I'm just not going to hang around you. And they act like, oh, because you can't handle it, you're weak. It's like, okay, whatever, man. You're just a douchebag. You know? Treat people how you want to be treated. And I don't want to treat people like the way you're treating me, so I'm just going to walk away from you. All right? I don't care if you think I'm weak or soft. When you act like that, your opinion doesn't matter. All right? But they think that's their mindset, is you put up with the abuse or else you're a punk. You're a wuss. Right? So they put that in your head so that you would just deal with it, that you would just go along with the verbal abuse so that you don't say anything or do anything about it. Because they're never wrong. So if you were to call them out for what they're doing, that means that they're wrong and what they're doing is even morally evil. That can't be, because that means they're a bad person. They can't be a bad person. No, you're the problem because you can't handle it, right? And that's why I have the physical beat down over here as well. I'll get into that in a second. But we see this also with friends. Sometimes there's cliques. There's cliques of little groups of friends. And for some reason, there's usually one that they all make fun of. And for some reason, that one that's getting made fun of puts up with it because they got a low self-esteem. They don't think they can have any other friends. They just want to hang out with them because they think they're cool or something. And they become their verbal punching bag. All right? Acting like you put up with it. And the funny thing is that when you're in these families or among these friend circles and you actually say something back, right? Because you're like, all right, this is what we're going to do. You start making fun of them. All of a sudden, they're upset and you're an evil jerk. And it's like, what are you talking about? You called me some names. I called you some names. All right, you called out some stuff about me. I called some stuff out about you. It's all just fun and games. I thought it was like if you tough, you just handle it. All of a sudden, you can't handle it? See, they live in glass houses, right? They want to be able to throw rocks at you without you doing a dang thing back. They want you to just take it. And that's why I brought up the physical beatdown. Because they say, oh, it's verbal. It's not a big deal, right? Even though verbal can have a huge impact on you. We don't like to admit it. But words, especially from people that are close to us, family, friends, are going to impact you. If you care about these people, it's going to impact you, right? There's no way around that, right? Until you grow up and you develop the maturity and a strength to understand that the things they say and do don't matter, it's going to have a big effect on you, right? Even if that effect is when you get older, the effect is you just don't want to be around them. But let's take it physically, right? Because if you go to it physically and you say like the parents, they beat up their children, and imagine they said the same justification. I'm not the problem. You're just weak and soft. You need to toughen up. The world's a rough place. But even with the world being a rough place, when a child goes to school, for example, let's say they get beat up every now and then. They're getting beat up by a fellow child, not by an adult. It's not the same thing, right? And that justification we would see as, that's not a good justification. You're trying to toughen up, but it's the same thing. How come it's okay to verbally do it, but not physically do it? Oh, you're trying to verbally get them to toughen up, but physically, no. It's bad if you do it that way. Why? You're just trying to toughen them up. Because there's some who believe the opposite, right? If people say those things, no, that's wrong. You punch them in the face. And those who are afraid of physical, oh, you're just weak. You're pathetic. You're all talk because you can't actually back it up, right? But you see, if they do it physically, all of a sudden it's a problem now, right? Because generally, narcissists are, for the most part, they're lazy. Most of them are anyway. And they're not going to do all the workout and stuff because they think they're in the best shape and they look the best and they're never going to grow old and get weaker and fall apart and die. They're self-deluded. So they don't really think they need to do any of those things, right? So they're not actually physically able to do anything if there's a physical confrontation, right? So that's why doing it physically is wrong. But it's the same justification. Oh, just trying to toughen up my child. Just trying to get my children to toughen each other up. But that's the thing. Like, if you are around, you make some friends that like to get physical. right? And they roughed you up because they were expecting, hey, you fight back, defend yourself, right? So they pushed you and kicked you, punched you, right? Let's fight. And you were like, no. Oh, you're weak and soft, right? And you're like, well, I'm not going to hang around these people because they like to just randomly attack me, right? You'd say, I want to stay away from those people. But those people would say, oh, you're just weak and soft. But then when people do the same thing, they punch and kick you with their words, and you're like, well, I'm not going to hang around these people. Oh, you're soft and weak. No, it's the same thing. Like, I don't want to hang around people who are constantly just verbally trying to break you down and disrespect you the same way somebody who wants to get physical all the time and just punches you and kicks you and attacks you randomly, like jumps you, right? You're not expecting it or anything. And be like, no, I don't want to have friends like that. And then they'll say that you're the problem. They're like, okay, I'm the problem, then stay away from me. How about that? Because I'm a big problem. I'm such a big problem, you should just stay away. But for some reason, they'll say that you're the problem, but they still want to hang out with you. Right? That makes no sense, right? But, because in reality, what they want is for you to just go along with it. Right? That's why they want to hang out with you. They want to keep hanging out with you because they want you to end up putting up with their either verbal or physical abuse. And when you don't, there's two things that go on in their mind. It's one of these two things. It's, oh, you're weak and soft and you're pathetic, because that makes them feel better about themselves. Like, I can handle it because I'm tougher. I'm better than them, right? It feeds their ego. But there's another thing that will hit them is they feel a bit of guilt, a bit of shame. Like, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, right? There was no reason for me to say or do that. So then they get a little bit to their conscience, right? And that's the point where it can go either way. Because their conscience is getting to them, it can potentially lead them eventually to change, repentance. But at the same time, their conscience getting at them can turn them to just hate you more for no reason. Just because you won't put up with their bullshit. Right? But to wrap this up, I wanted to bring up one more. Because this comes down in the same way. Right? I was thinking about Luke 16. And I was thinking about Lazarus, the poor man, and the rich man. And it says that the poor man, Lazarus, he suffered evil things in this life, so he was being comforted after he died. But the rich man, he received comfortable life, but when he died, he suffered, right? And what I was thinking about is, that poor man, God, Jesus never says he should have got a job. He should have gave back to society, right? No, he doesn't shame him for being a bum. He shames everybody else for not loving him and taking care of him and helping him, right? And I was thinking about that. Because society is the same way. They just want you to put up with the abuse. They want you to be a slave in this society. Right? So, in reality, none of us actually want to work. Right? None of us do. We just do it because, we feel we have to. Right? And a lot of it is because we think, if we work hard, things will work out for us. People are slowly learning that's not how it works, right? And they think, I'm some kind of gay weak wuss if I don't just put up with it and go to work and slave away and do all this stuff. And I don't want people to call me those names and treat me like that. So they go and they slave away and they hate their life because they care about what other people might say about them or do say about them if they don't. Right? But it's the same thing, you know, society is just acting like a big family. It's acting like a big friend group. And they're trying to get certain people in that group to put up with the verbal and physical abuse. Right? For example, if someone attacked the president, there's a good chance that person would be killed before they even get into a jail cell. Right? But if somebody beat up a homeless person, some people might shame them, but there's a chance that nothing will be done about it because that person doesn't matter. But you see, God's no respecter of persons. He doesn't want anybody to just randomly attack the president. He doesn't want anybody to randomly attack some bum on the street either. He cares about both of them. Right? But you see, we're completely different. And we look at that bum as not, hey, this is our fellow man created in the image and likeness of God, that this is our brother or our sister here as mankind, even if they're not like a fellow Christian. They don't look at them like that. Like, wow, this guy needs to get a job, get cleaned up and all this. Right? It's just it's a shame, right? The world is becoming more and more narcissistic, but I guess there's a silver lining to this, is that Jesus told us in Matthew 24 that coming to the end, the love of many would grow cold. And seeing this, I see it, right? Because these families and these friends groups in society will call this love, right? They'll call it love to just basically beat people down and try to guilt them and shame them into putting up with you and basically just slaving away for their whole lives, hating their lives. And that's just normal and acceptable, to just treat people like that. And people don't really care. I mean, we don't even take time to think about it at all. And, you know, making a video like this, I don't think people are going to give a rat's ass about this either. They're not going to change. They're probably not even going to think about it. They're not even going to watch the video all the way through. Especially if they're doing something that has to do with this, they're not going to watch all the way through. They're not going to feel good about it. So they're just going to go somewhere else. That's another thing. People always want to feel good 24/7. They don't realize that they're all drug addicts. Even if they're not on a drug, they all need some kind of constant feel-good message, feel-good entertainment, feel-good video, story, whatever it is. They constantly need that. And sometimes they need, they'll even take the negative stuff because it makes them feel something, right? So all the negative stories about what's going on in the world, it's like entertainment to them, like a movie. Even though some of it is staged, so I can't blame them there, but people are just becoming very apathetic. They don't care about anything. I even heard some people talking about how it's strange that the news is talking more and more about UFOs and aliens. I don't really watch, so I don't know. They were saying, and nobody seems to be talking about it or even care. Like, people are just too distracted on themselves. Some of it's justified, some of it's not, you know. They just focus on themselves because, you know, we're selfish creatures. And part of it is because sometimes we have to just make a living, right? And because of this, people just don't care about all the things going on. I mean, like, for example, DJT is obviously trying to turn America into a dictatorship. And there's like little to no backlash. Right? There's some. At least there's only a little bit coming out. But it's just weird. Very weird. But it all ties into what I've been saying, that all this is done to break people's will, to break their spirit. So they just go along with it and they put up with it. And you see how it's happened to all of society, where they've been verbally and even at times physically just beating you down and saying that you're weak and soft if you don't put up with it. And now your spirit is broken, your will is broken, and now you're just going along with whatever they say. Because you just don't have it in you anymore. You don't care, you don't have any fight in you. And now they basically own you and they can do what they want with you. But anyway, with all that being said, thanks for your time and attention. Think about these things. Spend more time with Jesus. He actually cares about you. Right? So I'll let this go to my splice. Alright, it's the end of the video. And I figured I would do an ending segment to my video so I don't have to keep repeating myself. But I do want to remind you to do what Isaiah said to do and seek out the book of the Lord and read it, putting line upon line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little, doing what Paul said, and studying the word, showing yourself approved unto God, rightly dividing the word of truth. And if you read English, that would be the KJV. And then do what John has Jesus recorded telling the Church of Philadelphia, and keep his word, preserve it, protect it, hide it in your hearts, and not deny his name. And then Jesus will never be able to tell you do err not knowing the scriptures, and he will keep you from the hour of temptation, which is going to come upon all those that dwell upon the earth here shortly. And with that being said, I'd like to ask you for your support. You watching the video all the way to the end helps out a lot, but if you could like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, share the video, share the channel, interact in the comments section. These things help out a lot, especially with people telling me that their likes are not being registered, that they get unsubscribed, and all kinds of other ways being shadow banned. Your help in this way was greatly appreciated. And if you're able to give me a little bit more time and pray to our Heavenly Father that he keeps this ministry going and he uses it to reach those who he wants to reach, to get the truth out to the world, to make it a bright light, and to feed his sheep, to feed his children, and even bring forth more children, and that he would watch over all of us, his born-again believers, and take care of us, provide for us, and protect us, even after he comes and gets us, which looks like it's going to be real soon. And just to amen in Jesus' name to that should be all we need. But if you could help out some more, I know times are rough and they look like they're getting rougher, but if you're able to support financially, there's a few ways you can do so in the info description box, such as PayPal, Venmo, and there's a couple other ways you can support if you so choose to do so, which would make sure I can keep this ministry going longer than the foreseeable future, because this kind of support has been drying up there. It's pretty much non-existent lately. So if you could help out in that way, it would be greatly appreciated to make sure I can keep doing this. But if you could at least pray, I know God will provide. And sometimes it's a change of ministry, so maybe it won't be a ministry online anymore. But hey, if you want to keep seeing this stuff, pray. And with all that being said, thank you so much again for your time and attention, for watching this video all the way through. I appreciate it. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next one, and may God bless you and yours.